ever again pay with their life for demanding justice under the Constitution. Wazalendo wenzangu, let us speak honestly about where we are and what is the state of our nation, of which the evidence is damning, and it comes from Kenyans themselves. Anywhere and everywhere, be it in Nairobi or Mombasa, the Rift Valley, or Western, Coastal, Northeastern, the devastating picture of life under the Ruto regime in just 3 years is clear. No amount of sugarcoating or political rhetoric that is self-serving can change these facts. While Ruto makes promise after promise, there are actually about 300 or so far, the majority of which he has failed to deliver, except the self-promise to enrich himself and cronies with Kenyan taxpayers' hard-earned money. These are the facts. Number one, the cost of living has become unbearable. Families cannot afford food, fuel, or basic necessities. Overtaxation has crushed households, while corruption and waste drain public resources. A lot of them could not even afford to go home over Christmas. Unemployment, number two, has reached crisis levels. Our educated youth, the pride of this nation, are jobless and disillusioned. Graduates hawk goods on the streets, while unqualified cronies, products of Rutoism, occupy top government positions based on loyalty and ethnicity, not on merit. More damning, manufacturers are leaving the country in their droves because of the unpredictable Ruto policies, costing thousands of Kenyans their jobs and millions more than their breadwinners. Thirdly, insecurity has become the new normal. From police brutality to abductions, from femicide to banditry, to petty crimes and increased house breakings, Kenyans are living in fear. The Kenyan skyline is changing, yes, with higher stone walls and barbed wire on its top that block sunlight, because Kenyans are more afraid of their fellow Kenyans than ever before. Nairobi, that used to be called the green city in the sun, is now an unplanned stone city under siege because this regime chooses greed over the people. Fourthly, despair has replaced hope. Kenyans feel abandoned, overtaxed, underpaid, and overburdened. Each day dawns with a new levy, a new penalty, a new heartbreak. Are we not waiting for January to hear that NSSF has upped their contributions as well? Fifthly, or thereabouts, healthcare has collapsed into a nightmare. SHA shift forced on Kenyans has become the most consequential threat to our well-being. Hospitals are understaffed and under-equipped. Mothers give birth in fear. Doctors go unpaid, and hospitals run out of essential drugs. I met two families in Sekuru where I was for Christmas, Sunday morning, from different parts of the constituency. And they had a similar story to say. Said, help us. Our child is lying in Kenyatta Referral Hospital mortuary. We are required to pay 1.2 million shillings. We can't afford, help us. So we are trying to see how I can now relate to that story, how we can help. The next family comes in from Kasa side, if you know where Mwingi know this. Mumoni, a young man whom I knew, was working in the geothermal power producing plants, contracted some infection. He also died in Kenyatta Referral Hospital, and the body was lying there. The father, who was one or two classes ahead of me in high school, could not afford. They are saying, help us bring the body of our young professional, chemical engineer, home. Tumechoka kila siku kufundraise on TikTok, Facebook, and WhatsApp groups to give our loved ones access to quality health care. Sio lazima utrend ndio saidike. That's what I suggest. Education has become a burden, sixthly, instead of a bridge. Education, once the key to opportunity, has been turned into a nightmare for families. Parents are drowning in debt just to keep their children in school, while teachers and lecturers are demoralized, unpaid, and disrespected. Students are uncertain of their future, wondering if their education will lead anywhere in a country where public sector jobs go to political cronies, not qualified graduates, and private sector opportunities are due to fierce urgency of now. End of quote. The urgency of now is a cry of a mother who cannot afford medicine for a sick child, the desperation of a young graduate with no job, the fear of a family living under police brutality, and the anger of a farmer who cannot feed their family. 2026 must be a year of change, fellow Kenyans. Not change delayed or promised, but change delivered. The urgency of now demands we say with one voice, one term, Komboa Kenya. Wazalendo wenzangu, let me be clear about what this regime is doing. Faced with failure and faced with the revolution, they have resorted to destruction, to deception, and to delay. The Singapore allusion is an example. Ruto speaks of turning Kenya into Singapore. But what we see is hashtag Singapore, a nation drowning in debt, overtaxed citizens, collapsed industries, and fleeing investors. Let us be clear, Singapore was built on discipline, on merit, and strategic investment. In 3 years, Kenya under Ruto is being drowned in Rutopreneurship, where public office is a family business, where contracts go to cronies, and where corruption is policy. Let us be even clearer. You cannot hope or pretend to build Singapore on the foundation of theft, incompetence, and nepotism. Let's face it, Singapore is all we will ever get under this regime. Secondly, I want to talk about the referendum diversion. And now, they want to add a constitutional referendum to the August 2027 elections. Can you imagine, Kenyans? Already the weight of 6 ballots from an MCA to an MP to a senator to a county women rep to a governor to a senator, did I say senator, to the president, 6 ballots, and you want to add other ballots to make it 10? Where in the world has that happened? I must tell them, we do not even have in place a referendum law. Let Parliament deal with that first. And when we under NADCO dealt with these issues, those issues, the number one item was the cost of living, which this regime said, no, that's our business, leave it. Now it is now under the urgency of now. This is so that they can manipulate the process and attempt to extend their grip on power through backdoor constitutional changes. There is no constitutional crisis in our country. Nothing can stop this election based on boundaries review. The legal avenue available, avenues available, the main was in Parliament, that the state has unfortunately captured. We will be seeking interpretation on this matter, and I can tell you, the Constitution says that there shall be an election for a president in each of the 290 constituencies. The constituencies are even defined under the Constitution. So nobody can come and say there will be a constitutional crisis because we do not have in place the boundaries review. And yet under NATCO, we had made it very clear that, in fact, we made a recommendation that rather than have a review of the boundaries after every 9 or so years, we made it 14 in order to be able to cover the current deficit. But that notwithstanding, there is no constitutional crisis. Let me be really very crystal clear to Mr. Ruto. Implement the Constitution of Kenya first, and obey and respect the rule of law and the Constitution you swore to uphold. Never mind the fact that you opposed it in the first place, but you are the guardian of that Constitution. And no excuse to say I opposed it in the first place. In fact, this Constitution has served you so well. When Uhuru Kenyatta could have taken the liberty to fire you, he couldn't, because you are joined at the hip. He required a referendum, an impeachment motion, and you had the numbers. Fortunately, so this Constitution has actually served Mr. William Ruto very well. Mipango ya kudanganya wa Kenya ndio wapitishe term limit extension, lazima wajue tuko rada. Make no mistake and hear me clearly. The only referendum Kenyans want is the one that happens at the ballot box in August 2027, and that referendum will be clear. Ruto will go. Hashtag one term for him. It's not a crime. In fact, it's a big favor. The way they are performed under this regime, even their one term, is a big favor. My fellow Kenyans, I want to be very clear this afternoon. The united opposition is not just a coalition. It is your government in waiting. We are united not by personal ambition, but by shared values. Respect for our Constitution, economic justice, integrity in public office, and the protection of fundamental rights. And I make this commitment to you. By the first quarter of 2026, the name of a presidential candidate will be made known to Kenyans. I think it's only fair that we work in that direction. And I want to say that I personally do everything possible to hold our team together. Let me also be abundantly clear. I am running for President of the Republic of Kenya. That's an obvious fact. Because I was given a direct mandate on October 10, 2025 by the National Delegates Congress of the now revamped, re-energized Wiper Patriotic Front. This is a front to liberate Kenya. I've walked this journey with you, and I've stood for justice when it was under attack by the very people who were supposed to be its first line of defense. I have defended the Constitution when others sought to undermine it, and I've defended Kenyans in our courts of law when they have been abducted and tortured. I have, with my colleagues in the legal fraternity, also spent countless hours in our courts of law, and successfully stopped the attempts to auction our strategic assets like the JKI. Young Kenyans were even arraigned before anti-terrorism courts in committee. You know, they were meant to get maximum fear put in their minds that, you know, you are next to commit maximum prison. The anti-terrorism court is right there, and so they are put together with international criminals. And I will continue to do so with the same vigor to stop the from the first day I had the privilege of holding public office. Under my leadership, we will cut unnecessary taxes.
Just a national tragedy. It is a moral failure
by the legacy and the legacy of the Ruto regime.